After the Chancellor's rescue, and Padme telling him she was pregnant, Anakin went to Palpatine's office. "Anakin, my young friend," said the Chancellor with his dissimulating voice. "You cannot imagine how grateful I am for your bravery. Come, sit with me. We need to talk about many things." Anakin nodded to R2-D2, who rolled to a corner of the office. "Do a complete systems check, R2. Make sure everything is functioning perfectly after the rescue." The droid beeped in confirmation and began connecting to the available terminals. Palpatine served a fine drink to Anakin, his attention completely focused on the young Jedi Knight. "You know, Anakin, the war has taught us many difficult lessons," the Chancellor began, his voice laden with gravity. "I've learned that trusting only in others can be dangerous. Sometimes, we need to take extraordinary measures to protect those we love." Anakin listened attentively, his concerns about Padme always present in his mind. While the two conversed about politics, war, and the Republic's future, R2-D2 worked silently in the corner of the room. His advanced sensors detected a particularly well-protected terminal, something that awakened his programming design to detect anomalies. The small droid extended its interface arm and began penetrating the system's security layers. His sophisticated programming, enhanced through years serving the Jedi, allowed him to identify suspicious data patterns. While Palpatine discoursed on the need to maintain order in the galaxy, R2-D2 discovered deeply hidden files in the Chancellor's personal system. The schematics that began appearing in his memory were of unprecedented scale, a space station the size of a small moon. The droid continued the download discreetly, storing every detail of the Death Star plans in his memory banks. No one noticed when he finally disconnected, having obtained information that would change the course of the war. Hours later, Anakin found Obi-Wan in the corridors of the Jedi Temple. "Master, the Chancellor is safe and seems well," Anakin reported, walking alongside his former teacher. "Although I sense something troubles him deeply." He spoke much about security and protection. Obi-Wan stroked his beard thoughtfully, about to respond when R2-D2 emitted a series of urgent and agitated beeps. "R2 says he discovered something important in the Chancellor's systems," Anakin translated, frowning. "He wants to show us immediately." The two Jedi exchanged worried looks and followed the droid to a private briefing room. R2-D2 projected a three-dimensional hologram that made Anakin and Obi-Wan instinctively step back. The image showed a spherical space station of colossal proportions, covered with antennas, towers, and what appeared to be a focused superlaser. "By all the heavens," Obi-Wan murmured, approaching the projection. "R2, where did you get this?" The droid explained through a series of beeps that the data came directly from Palpatine's encrypted personal files. Anakin felt a chill down his spine as he examined the detailed schematics. "This isn't just a space station," he said slowly, enlarging the superlaser section. "It's a weapon capable of—" "No, this can't be right. Master, look at these power calculations." Obi-Wan studied the projected numbers, his face gradually paling as he comprehended the true nature of what they were seeing. The Jedi Council chamber was in extraordinary session, with all members present observing attentively while R2-D2 reproduced the stolen schematics. Master Yoda remained in his chair, his ancient eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom as he examined every detail of the projection. Master Windu stood, arms crossed, his grave expression becoming increasingly somber. Plo Koon leaned forward in his chair, his breathing apparatus emitting soft sounds as he processed the magnitude of what they were seeing. Obi-Wan and Anakin remained at the center, awaiting the Council's verdict on their alarming discovery. "From the Chancellor's personal files, this information comes?" Yoda said slowly, his voice laden with weight. "Grave, this is very grave." Master Windu stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the Death Star projection. "A weapon of this magnitude, built in secret, without the Senate's approval or even knowledge." He paused, letting the implications hang in the air. "This goes beyond any legitimate security protocol. This is tyranny disguised as protection." Plo Koon nodded gravely, his voice modulated by the respirator. "The question we must ask is, Why would the Supreme Chancellor order the construction of such a device without consulting the Republic's representatives? Ki-Adi-Mundi added. And how many resources were diverted to this project while our clones fought with inadequate equipment? Anakin felt compelled to speak, his loyalty to Palpatine conflicting with the evidence before his eyes. Masters, surely there must be an explanation. The Chancellor faced unprecedented threats during this war. Perhaps he felt he needed an extreme security measure. Obi-Wan placed a hand on his former Padawan's shoulder. Anakin, I understand your relationship with the Chancellor, but we need to consider the facts. This is not a defensive measure. It's a weapon of mass destruction. Master Windu turned to face them. Skywalker, your concerns are understood. But Kenobi is correct. No threat justifies such power concentrated in the hands of a single individual, no matter how trustworthy he may seem to be. Act with caution. We must, Yoda instructed, tapping his staff gently on the floor. Alert the Chancellor of our knowledge. We must not yet. Investigate first. We need. Verify if this construction truly exists. Important it is. Master Windu agreed, developing the plan. Skywalker, Kenobi, you are assigned to a reconnaissance mission. R2-D2 has provided the coordinates where this station is supposedly being built. Go there, infiltrate if possible, and confirm the existence of this weapon. Plo Koon added, use extreme discretion. If the Chancellor discovers we know, there's no predicting his reaction. Ki-Adi-Mundi warned, and if it's a trap, retreat immediately. Your safety is priority. The journey to the provided coordinates took several days, with Anakin and Obi-Wan traveling in an unidentified reconnaissance ship. When they finally arrived at the specified system, what they saw confirmed their worst fears. There, under construction in deep space orbiting a distant sun, was the Death Star. Even unfinished, its scale was terrifying, with superstructure skeletons extending like the bones of some technological leviathan. Thousands of construction ships buzzed around it like insects, and the presence of Imperial Star destroyers suggested intense security levels. Master, this is real, Anakin whispered, his voice full of awe and horror. He's actually building this. Infiltrating the station required all their Jedi skill and a bit of luck. Disguised as construction workers, they moved through the partially completed levels, R2-D2 hacking security systems as they advanced. In an abandoned control room, they found complete technical specifications that confirmed their darkest suspicions. Obi-Wan, look at this, Anakin said, pointing to a data panel. The superlaser's power calculations. According to these numbers, a single shot could. He paused, barely believing what he was reading. Could destroy an entire planet. Vaporize everything, from crust to core. Obi-Wan closed his eyes for a moment, absorbing the magnitude of the discovery. We need to return to the Council immediately. This cannot remain secret. The Senate needs to know. As they left the station, both carried the weight of knowledge that would change the galaxy's fate. The Galactic Senate chamber was filled beyond its capacity, each floating platform loaded with anxious senators and their advisors. The atmosphere was charged with tension as Master Windu ascended to the central podium, his dignified posture commanding immediate respect. Beside him, the projected holograms showed the Death Star schematics, the images rotating slowly so everyone could see. Palpatine sat in his elevated chair, his face a mask of concerned calm, but his eyes followed every Jedi movement with calculated intensity. The crowd's murmur grew until the Chancellor raised a hand, silencing the assembly. Senators, let us hear what the Jedi have to tell us. His voice echoed through the chamber with rehearsed authority. Esteemed members of the Senate, Master Windu began, his voice firm and clear. The Jedi Council has discovered evidence of a massive military construction project, operating in secret without senatorial approval or oversight. This battle station, called the Death Star, is being built with resources diverted from the Republic. Obi-Wan stepped forward, activating another set of holograms showing their reconnaissance photographs. Anakin Skywalker and I personally infiltrated the facility. I can confirm that this weapon has the capacity to destroy entire planets with a single shot. The threat it represents to galactic democracy cannot be overstated. An uproar exploded in the chamber, senators shouting at each other, some in outrage, others in disbelief. Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan rose on his platform, his voice cutting through the chaos. Chancellor Palpatine, these are extremely grave accusations. Do you have knowledge of this construction? All eyes turned to Palpatine, who rose slowly, his expression transforming into wounded regret. Senator Organa, members of the Senate, it is with deep sadness that I answer these accusations. Yes, I authorized a classified defense project, but only because we faced unprecedented threats. The Separatists possessed weapons that demanded extreme responses. His voice gained strength. But now I see the Jedi distorting my efforts to protect the Republic, trying to incriminate me for making difficult choices they didn't have the courage to make. Senator Mon Mothma rose, her voice full of conviction. With all respect, Chancellor, no threat justifies concentrating such destructive power in the hands of a single individual. This contradicts all the principles for which the Republic exists. But other senators quickly rose in Palpatine's defense. The Chancellor has guided us through the most devastating war in 1,000 years, argued a senator from Corellia. He deserves our trust, not our suspicion. Another added, the Jedi have always had too much power. Perhaps they fear their influence is diminishing. The Senate visibly divided, half supporting Palpatine, half demanding full investigation. Ki-Adi-Mundi observed from the Jedi gallery, recognizing the signs of careful manipulation that led to this division. In the following days, as investigation procedures unfolded, Palpatine sought out Anakin privately. They met in a private garden of the senatorial building, far from curious ears. Anakin, my young friend, the Chancellor began, his voice laden with paternal disappointment. You saw the weapon with your own eyes, it's true. But did you see the purpose behind it? Did you see how I intended to use this power to finally bring lasting peace to the galaxy? Anakin remained silent, divided between his observations and his loyalty. I trust you, Chancellor, but a weapon that can destroy planets. Palpatine placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. Precisely because it can destroy planets, no one would dare use it against us. It's deterrence, not destruction, that I seek. The Jedi don't understand the weight of real leadership, Palpatine continued, his voice lowering to a more intimate tone. They serve the Force, not the people. But you, Anakin, you understand what's at stake. You have Padme to protect, a future to secure. The mention of Padme made Anakin visibly shudder. His visions of her death still haunted him every night, and Palpatine's promises of power to prevent such tragedy echoed constantly in his mind. I know about your nightmares, Anakin. I know about your fears. The Jedi Order would let you suffer, lose everything you love, because they fear attachment. But I would offer you the power to save those you love. Anakin looked at the Chancellor, seeing the apparent sincerity in his eyes, but also remembering the Death Star schematics, the capacity for planetary genocide. He was divided as he had never been, pulled between two paths, both claiming to seek the greater good. The political tension in Coruscant had reached its critical breaking point when Palpatine urgently summoned Anakin to a private meeting in his personal office at nightfall. The planet city of Coruscant shone magnificently through the floor-to-ceiling panoramic windows, its endless lights reminding Anakin of all the countless lives that critically depended on the decisions made in that room of power. Speeders flowed like rivers of light through the infinite urban canyons. Anakin, the time has finally come for you to know the complete and absolute truth about everything, Palpatine said, his voice suddenly different and transformed, colder, more powerful, reverberating with ancient authority. The Jedi are actively planning a military coup against me at this very moment. They maliciously fabricated these unfounded accusations to justify taking total control of the Republic through force. He turned slowly to face the young Jedi directly with penetrating eyes. And there is much more you absolutely must know about who I truly am behind this public mask. Have you heard of the ancient tragedy of Darth Plagueis, the Wise and Powerful? Of course you've heard that story. I personally told you a few weeks ago, Palpatine smiled slightly with satisfaction, and before Anakin's shocked eyes, his entire presence in the Force changed dramatically, revealing the immense dark depths that had always been carefully hidden. I am exactly what the arrogant Jedi would call a Sith Lord. Darth Sidious is my true name. The supreme architect of the Clone Wars from the beginning, yes, I admit that completely, but also the only individual with true vision to definitively end the conflict and bring absolute and lasting order. Anakin instinctively stepped back several paces, his hand moving automatically to his lightsaber attached to his belt. You've been behind absolutely everything from the start? All the countless deaths, all the immeasurable suffering throughout the galaxy. Palpatine calmly raised a pale hand, showing no alarm. I simply created the necessary historical conditions for fundamental and inevitable change. The Republic was completely rotten to the core, Anakin. You know this better than anyone in your heart. But now the arrogant Jedi know too much about my careful plans. Palpatine continued, slowly approaching Anakin with measured steps. They will come very soon to arrest or summarily execute me. And when they inevitably finally do, all possible hope of saving Padme from the terrible fate you saw will die permanently with me. Only I know the ancient secrets of the power to completely cheat death, Anakin. Only I can teach you to save the one you love above all else in this universe. Anakin's mind spun violently, his prophetic visions of Padme dying agonizingly in childbirth flashing repeatedly before his eyes like cutting blades. Join me immediately, Palpatine offered with seductive voice. Stay loyally by my side while I transform this failed and corrupt republic into a glorious empire that will bring unquestionable security and perfect order. Padme will have all the absolute protection my immense power can generously provide. You will never lose her in any way. Never lose anyone you love again. Ever. Anakin froze in place, divided to his soul between the horror of what Palpatine had revealed about his true nature and the desperate and seductive promise of saving his beloved wife. But then, like a ray of light piercing dark clouds, Anakin vividly remembered Obi-Wan's wise words about how it's our choices that fundamentally define who we truly are. No, the Council must know, he finally said with trembling voice but gradually gaining strength. Anakin burst dramatically into the Council chamber, where Yoda, Windu, Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, and Ki-Adi-Mundi were in emergency night session. Masters! He shouted urgently, breathing heavily and sweating. Palpatine, he's a Sith Lord. He revealed himself completely to me just minutes ago. He admitted to being Darth Sidious, the Sith Master we've been desperately searching for during years. Heavy silence filled the sacred chamber for a tense moment before Master Windu rose abruptly from his chair. Yoda closed his eyes slowly, as if a great ancient pain pierced him deeply. Confirmed finally our worst fears were. Quick and decisively, act we must now. Master Windu quickly gathered the council with urgent gestures. We have no more time for subtlety or elaborate planning. If Sidious definitely knows he's been completely exposed, he may flee to deep space or execute any apocalyptic final plan. He's meticulously prepared. Yoda struck his ancient staff firmly. To the assembled Senate, we will go immediately. Expose Sidious before everyone publicly, we must do. Let the entire galaxy finally see his true malignant face. Master Windu turned to Anakin with solemn expression. You made the absolutely right choice coming to us with this revelation. Now, courageously finish what you started. Come with us to the Senate as witness. The senatorial chamber was in formal emergency session when the Jedi Masters arrived in formation, their brown capes dramatically billowing as they marched determinedly to the center of the massive assembly. Thousands of senators watched with growing alarm. Palpatine watched attentively from his elevated chancellor platform, his face showing carefully staged confusion and paternal concern. Honored Jedi Masters, what exactly is the meaning of this dramatic intrusion? Master Windu pointed directly at the chancellor with accusing finger, his deep voice echoing powerfully throughout the hemispheric chamber. Chancellor Palpatine, before this assembled Senate and before the entire galaxy watching, I formally accuse you of being the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, Supreme Architect of the Clone Wars and Supreme Traitor of the Galactic Republic. A massive and instant uproar echoed through the chamber, senators rising shocked from their seats in total disbelief. Palpatine laughed aloud, a perfectly calibrated sound of outraged disbelief. This is the most outrageous and absurd accusation yet made. The Jedi finally reveal their true coup intentions for all to see. Anakin took a courageous step forward, his voice firm and clear. He personally confessed everything to me less than an hour ago, senators. He revealed himself completely as Darth Sidious and directly offered to train me in the ways of the dark side of the Force. Obi-Wan added with authority. Everything finally fits perfectly now. The Death Star is absolutely not a legitimate defensive weapon. It's a calculated tool of terror designed to brutally subjugate the galaxy under the absolute rule of a Sith Emperor. The Senate began murmuring increasingly loudly, initial disbelief quickly giving way to growing grounded suspicion. Senator Mon Mothma rose elegantly on her platform. Chancellor Palpatine, will you deny these gravest accusations under solemn oath before the assembled Senate? Palpatine rose very slowly from his elevated chair, and for the first time in decades, his public mask of paternal benevolence began to visibly crack. You pathetic fools! He hissed venomously, his voice filling with ancient malice and concentrated hatred. You truly think your hollow and rotten republic can judge or stop me? I am the absolute power that kept this pathetic galaxy united through force of will. I am the inevitable order that necessarily arises from primitive chaos. His physical appearance began to disturbingly change before thousands of witnesses, years of elaborate Force disguise rapidly dissipating to reveal the glowing yellow eyes and oppressive dark presence he had meticulously hidden for so long. His skin paled, deep creases appearing. Master Windu activated his distinctive purple lightsaber with fluid motion. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, in the name of the Galactic Senate and the Jedi Order, you are formally under immediate arrest. The Red Guards of the Imperial Royal Guard advanced loyally to protect their Master Palpatine with energized lances, but Plo Koon and Ki-Adi-Mundi quickly neutralized them with precise and non-lethal strikes of their glowing sabers, ensuring no life was unnecessarily taken in the Sacred Senate. Palpatine roared with primordial rage, a sound that sent icy shivers through the entire assembly. You dare truly challenge me, Windu? He extended his twisted hands, and blue Sith lightning exploded violently from his fingertips like a storm. Master Windu skillfully deflected the deadly rays with his purple saber, the massive electrical energy crackling loudly against the plasma blade. The two exceptional fighters moved in a superhuman blur, their forms dancing across the central platform at impossible speeds, while terrified senators retreated in absolute panic. Palpatine was tremendously powerful, his furious attacks fueled by decades of deep Sith study and concentrated rage of generations. But Windu was a consummate master of Vapad, a unique combat style that channeled the opponent's darkness against himself. Devastating blow after blow, Windu systematically pressed his advantage, his iron Jedi discipline proving superior to the Sith Lord's uncontrolled rage. Finally, with a precisely calculated movement, Windu completely disarmed Palpatine, sending the Chancellor's red Sith saber flying high through the chamber in a wide arc. Palpatine staggered back dramatically, Sith lightning still wildly shooting from his twisted hands in absolute desperation. Unlimited power, he shouted with distorted voice, the rays striking Windu with terrible and sustained force. The Jedi Master advanced courageously through the blinding electrical storm, his lightsaber heroically deflecting what it could. But the sheer massive amount of unleashed Sith power was beginning inevitably to take its physical toll. Palpatine's skin began to horribly deform under his own unleashed malignant energy, his face progressively contorting into a twisted mask of pure hatred and suffering. Anakin! He shouted desperately, extending a trembling hand toward the watching young Jedi. Help me now. Think of Padme and your future. Only I can save her from terrible fate. If you let me die here, she inevitably dies with your unborn child. Anakin momentarily froze in place, old paralyzing fear gripping him tightly. He instinctively took a step forward, divided to his essence, his hand automatically reaching for his saber attached to his belt. But before Anakin could take any definitive action, Yoda and Obi-Wan moved quickly with Jedi reflexes to physically block his path. "Anakin, don't do this," Obi-Wan said firmly but with love, placing a firm hand on his former Padawan's chest. Anakin looked deeply into Obi-Wan's sincere eyes, seeing his master's absolutely unshakable faith in him shining clearly. Then to Yoda, seeing the concentrated wisdom of centuries reflected. He looked back at the contorted Palpatine, seeing no longer the benevolent and paternal mentor, but finally the manipulative tyrant who coldly orchestrated the death of countless millions of innocents. The final choice, when it finally came after all agony, was surprisingly clear to him. Master Windu advanced determinedly through the weakened lightning, his purple saber raised high in final position. "In the name of the Galactic Republic you completely betrayed, and the Jedi you tried to systematically destroy, your long reign of deception and terror definitively ends here and now." With a final and absolutely decisive movement, he permanently ended Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord's twisted body falling heavily lifeless before the assembled multitude of thousands. A stunned and absolute silence fell heavily over the entire Senate as senators stared fixedly at the deformed corpse on the floor, seeing undeniable physical evidence of characteristics with yellow eyes and deep dark side corruption permanently etched in every line of Palpatine's face. Senator Organa was the first to find his voice. "Let the official records clearly show that Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was indeed the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, and that his necessary death came justly by the hands of those he actively sought to destroy." In the days and weeks following Sidious's dramatic end, the Senate worked tirelessly to rebuild the Republic from its foundations. Anakin was formally summoned before the complete Jedi Council, expecting severe judgment for his prolonged secret marriage to Padme. But Master Windu, vividly remembering how Anakin's courageous final choice saved the entire Republic from tyranny, spoke eloquently in his defense. Skywalker faced temptation far greater than any of us imagined possible and chose correctly in the crucial moment. Perhaps it's finally time for the Order to seriously reconsider ancient prohibitions that unjustly force our members to painfully choose between natural love and sacred duty. Padme Amidala gave birth to perfectly healthy twins, Luke and Leia. The galaxy slowly began to heal, still deeply scarred but full of renewed hope and optimism. Anakin Skywalker became one of the greatest and most respected Jedi Masters of his generation. And through absolutely everything, R2-D2 remained faithful by their side, the heroic little droid who saved the entire galaxy by discovering the terrible truth when it mattered most for everyone.